Welcome into our In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. I'm Tom Leach, and pinch hitting for my regular partner Jim Goodman is Jonathan Fowler from KeenelandSelect.com. Jim taking the week off, perhaps for a vacation or perhaps just to celebrate the big day that he and Florent Giroux both had at Arlington. They both had 3 stakes winners. Florent got a lot more publicity for it than Jim, but Jim deserved a good share for some excellent picks up at Chicago on their Million Preview card last weekend.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job with the Pizza Man, Divine Oath, and I'm Already Sexy. I mean, those were some great winners, and hopefully it paid off for him, and hopefully he nailed that pick 4 with those 3 winners.
Yeah, and only one of those was a favorite. Divine Oath was one that I liked, and I got lucky in the Del Cap. I had the right horse paired up with Princess of Silmar, and this can happen sometimes if there's a big favorite and you like a horse with her, make sure to bet it both ways, because if it happens to come the other way, the exacta is usually an overlay, and it was like $40 over Princess of Silmar, and would have been considerably less the other way. So hopefully you guys had some winners as well last weekend. We're starting Del Mar and Saratoga meets this week, so some great stakes racing to talk about on the In the Money podcast. And Jonathan, let's start at Saratoga, where they have 2 graded stakes races on their first Saturday card. 7th race is the Grade 3 Sanford. Got a look at some 2-year-olds going 6 furlongs in stakes company, including a real impressive winner from the Churchill meet, Cinco Charlie, and the horse that he beat, Silver Hill. Who did you land on in the Sanford?
I'm going with the number 8, Nona's Boy. This horse broke his maiden first-time asking on June 13th at Belmont, going 5 furlongs, and did it smashingly. Won by an easy 5.5 lengths. Has all the right connections. Todd Pletcher, the Rapoli stable, John Velasquez is aboard, and he just cruised to an easy lead. By Distorted Humor out of an Empire Maker mare, beautifully bred, has all the right things going for him. So I like Nona's Boy. Love the horse Cinco Charlie coming from Churchill as well. There's so much speed in this race, of course, being 6 furlongs and these speedy 2-year-olds. The other one that to look at is Bessie's Boy, the number 7, coming out of Wesley Ward's barn. Also undefeated, won very easy last time out in the listed Tremont Stakes. So that's another one to contend with. But definitely like the Nona's Boy over the number 8, over the number 9, and the number 7.
Nona's Boy is my pick, too. I think you might get a little value. I'm thinking he might be second choice because Cinco Charlie comes out of that nice stakes win. And Nona's Boy, the thing that one thing that stood out to me too, that field in the maiden race that he won was really spread out, and that usually indicates a lot of quality in the horse that won. I think he won by 5.5, as you mentioned. I think the second place horse was 4 ahead, and then the third place horse was like 5+ lengths ahead of the 4th place finisher. So I think that was a really impressive performance by Nona's Boy, and he can come right back and win this. Cinco Charlie I'll use with him. Silver Hill I'll throw in there, too, for Calhoun from the runner-up to Cinco Charlie last time. And then Super Colossal, mainly just on a jockey angle there. Paco Lopez rides regularly over at Monmouth, and he's given up a day at Monmouth to come up and ride Super Colossal here. So I'll throw him in, but Nona's Boy is going to be my key horse as well. 10th race, the Grade 1 Diana. Fillies and mares 3 and up, mile and an eighth on the turf. And this was one where I went a few different directions before I finally settled on Abaco. And I don't like the fact that she has more seconds than first, but the last 2 races were really, I thought, big races for her. Last time out at Belmont, she ran behind Riposte, who got 51 seconds to the half and 1:17 for 6 furlongs. So there was just no way to close into that. She was trying to do it, and she got second. And then prior to that, she was third in a 3-way photo in the Grade 1 Jenny Wiley, hung 6 wide. And I think this mile and an eighth may be her best distance. She likes Saratoga. She's trained by Shug McGahee, and he in the Phipps stable. They're going to be ready to fire at Saratoga. And the other thing is it's on the interturf course, tight turns. She's drawn down on the inside. I think that helps. So I'm going to take Abaco, use her in exacta boxes with Emollient, Strathnaver, who I liked and almost got me well at a big price on Belmont Day. Discreet mark because of the speed, and then Allerite, who's probably, I would think, maybe the favorite off a big campaign last fall, but first start out in 2014. How do you see the Diana?
I was watching the Just a Game just a few minutes ago and recapping that race, and the thing that I noticed most was how mad I was watching that race live and seeing Stephanie's kitten so far back. She had absolutely no chance to win the race, and if you watch her, she is flying at the end, and past the wire, she is right up with the leaders. So I'm hoping that Stephanie's Kitten doesn't get much play, so you get one of the biggest prices you may ever get on her, and see a role reversal stretching out from a mile to the mile and eighth here, and hopefully get her first win of the season.
This is a race that I think there's a good chance there's going to be a nice exacta if you can be lucky enough to hit it.
Oh, I agree. There's a lot of value in this race, and I think she has a pretty good chance. And she gets Frankie Dettori on coming over from Europe, so I think that's a pretty interesting angle, seeing as Velasquez has been riding her the majority of her races. So I definitely like Stephanie's Kitten, hopefully for a little bit of an upset over. I like Strathnaver. She was flying late in her last in that just a game and just got nosed out. It was a heck of a race. And then Emollient. I mean, she's a very classy filly. Looking for her first win of the season as well. So I'm looking for that 9 again, 9 Stephanie's Kitten over Strathnaver and Emollient.
Del Mar has the Grade 2 San Clemente. 3-year-old filly is going a mile on the turf. And this was a race I didn't see, number one, any superstars in here, so I want to shop for a price. But I thought this was kind of wide open. How did you see the San Clemente?
I see it much the same way, and I finally settled on the number 4, Diversey Harbor. She's never finished out of the money, so she has 2 wins, 2 seconds, and 1/3, and 5 lifetime starts. In her past 2 races, she's been going a bit of a distance, so she's backing up to this mile distance where she has a win at Santa Anita earlier this year. So she's getting back to maybe a distance that she likes a bit better, and she'll be coming from off the pace. So I expect a little bit better performance from her going this mile distance. There's a lot of question marks in this race. You got Sandiva coming over from Europe, where she finished 5th in the Coronation. You also have My Conquistador trying to get back on the winning ways from her impressive 2-year-old career. So, but the horse that I'm interested in for second is She's a Smoke Show. She won last time out in the Senorita Grade 3 at a price. You may still get a little bit of a price on her as well, but she likes this mile distance, so I can definitely see her. So I like Diversey Harbor over She's a Smoke Show. And
we should also note that players should really be paying close attention to those turf races at Del Mar to kind of see how the track's playing now, because they've tweaked their turf course to make it wider so they could host a Breeders' Cup, which they're going to do in a few years, and now they can take more horses in some of their races than they've taken before, and it's a little bit of a different look. So see if there's any particular style that's playing well in those Del Mar races early in the meet. I'm going to go with a wild swing here, like the ones you mentioned, but I'm going to take a wild swing with Sushi Empire. Mm-hmm. Second off the layoff. Good on the turf. I think 8 starts with a win, 2 seconds, 2/3, and lots of experience at the 1 mile distance. But maybe the main thing, Corey Nakatani rides the turf so well, and he's riding her. And just in a race that's so wide open, I'm just going to take a flyer on Sushi Empire. Box her in exactas with Diversey Harbor the 4, 1 Tis the Key, and 9 Morning Fix. So you got Proctor, Mandela, Hollendorfer. I think it's hard to imagine at least one of those horses won't be in the exacta somewhere. And then I'll take the Owen Hardy trained Sushi Empire for my win pick and a wild stab there in the San Clemente. Arlington's 7th race is the Grade 3 Arlington Oaks. 3-year-old fillies there, 1 1/8 on the poly track. And I thought this was a good group. Really hard to settle on a clear-cut favorite. I ended up going to Interrupted, thinking that maybe you'll get a little value on her with a jock, Angel Serpo, doesn't ride the circuit regularly. He's coming in to ride, which I think is encouraging. Horse has never been this far, but has the pedigree with a broken valve blood to get 1 1/8, certainly. And Graham Motion is 30% on the turf to synthetic angle. We saw him score frequently on that angle here at Keeneland meets in recent years. So I'm going to try Interrupted, the 3, use her with Stellaris, the 5, the 8, She's Awfully Good, and the 9, Aurelia's Bell, who was almost my pick to win this. What about you?
I almost settled on the 9 as well with Aurelia's Bell. She was flying late in the regret and still got the win through disqualification. But I'm settling on the number 5, Stellaris. She was finished second last time out in a listed stakes at Canterbury, and she grabbed the lead early in that race and then just got run by. I think she got a little she got on that lead and didn't quite know what to do, and then got passed, and then she stayed on. So I think she just needs to have a target, and then she's good. 2 starts back, she won an optional claiming at Arlington Park by seven lengths, and she did so greenly as well. So I'm hoping she can put forth all of those efforts, everything that she's learned, and put into this effort, because when she gets that kick in, she can spurt away from a field. So with this 1.125 distance, I think she has enough pedigree in there to get this. So I'm like Stella Reese over Aurelius Bell, and then also I'm going to use your horse Interrupted.
And finally, we'll go to Woodbine, another turf stake there. It's the Grade 2 Nijinsky, 3-year-olds and up in 1 1/8. And not a big field, but pretty well-matched group. How did you see the Nijinsky?
I went back and forth on this one a little bit as well. I like the number 2, Dynamic Sky, shortening up. He's been running at 1.5 miles and 1.25 miles, and I really don't think that's his cup of tea. I mean, he's Sky Mesa colt who never really did much beyond 1 mile either. So I like Dynamic Sky, the angled, coming back in distance a little bit. He won the plate trial, although that wasn't on the turf like this one is, at 1.125 miles. So I think he likes this distance, so I think that'll help him out quite a bit. There's a lot of approval. I mean, he's just a classy horse. He always seems to run his race. I don't think he's necessarily the top echelon horses, but he's a gutsy little horse. And last time out, he finished an okay third in the poker, so I think this sets him up well for here. And then 5 iron is actually my top choice. I think he's gonna be on the lead. He's been on the lead in his last 2 races, and if he gets loose like he does, he'll go way out in the lead. He's led by 8-9 lengths, and then he was just caught in the Manhattan last time to finish 5th by 3 lengths. He cuts back in distance again, so I think if he gets loose on that lead again, he's going to be super dangerous. So the 5 iron over the 4 and the 2.
I took a long look at 5 iron, actually wrote down Za Approval on my page and then scratched it out. With him, I'm thinking, okay, if he was really back at his best, Clement probably runs him in something at Saratoga. So I ended up with the Birds. Coming off a layoff, he's got some sharp work, so I'm hoping that means that they've kind of regrouped and got him back to his top form, which he showed when he won his only start over the Woodbine course. And if he can run back to that effort, he's certainly a player here. De Silva has had a lot of success with him at Woodbine, and De Silva takes the ride here. So up with Birds, a little bit of a shaky pick there, and I'll use all the ones you mentioned with him. Za Approval, the 4, 5 iron, the 5, and Dynamic Sky, the 2. Dynamic Sky, I think you make a good point there about the distance, and he could be a nice value play if you're using horizontal wagers at Woodbine. I'd probably use 5 iron and Dynamic Sky and up with the Birds, all 3 on my ticket. So some really good races on Saturday around the country, and it's going to be that way for a while now with the Saratoga and Del Mar meets going and just some great racing. So hopefully you get a chance to take advantage of it. Great thing is, kind of like the Keeneland meets where you get great racing in the middle of the week when you're working. KeenelandSelect.com gives you the chance to get a wager down when you can't get out to the drive-through window or to the simulcasting. So make sure you keep your accounts funded this time of year for, you may get a chance to take a quick break at work, look down on the board and see a horse at a big overlay at Saratoga or Del Mar.
Exactly, and you've got our mobile site. So if you go onto your phone or to your iPad, just go to m.keenelandselect.com. It's a great experience to watch all the races live on your iPhone or your Android device. Been
on vacation the last couple of weeks and sitting at the beach watching races on my phone was not a bad way to go.
Can't beat that at all.
All right. Good luck to everybody, and we'll be back with another edition of the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.